So I thought that I would discuss with you a patient that I saw a little while ago, just to emphasise the importance of the link between how our bodies behave and how our mind works. This was a patient who came in with some neck and some shoulder pain, and it'd been going on for a little while, but he'd had a lot of stress in his life. There was some unemployment, and I think he'd been involved in a court case, and he came in with a painful shoulder and some neck pain as well. And when I had a look at him, I could see that his neck was quite stiff, and indeed his shoulder was also quite limited in how far he could move it. But there'd been no injury, and he was basically otherwise well, although he was a bit out of condition because he hadn't had time to exercise, and so he hadn't been eating very well, hadn't been doing much exercise either. And we started some treatment to loosen up his shoulder, some massage therapy and some trigger point work, and I did some acupuncture on his shoulder and some gentle manipulation of the shoulder joint, and we did some chiropractic adjustments of his neck and his upper back to help him, and things seemed to improve, significantly, which was great. But they grumbled on really, and we talked about his issues and how much they had affected him emotionally. And what I got him to do was a little letter writing technique, where I got him to pretend he was writing to someone that he really trusted and whose opinion he really respected, like an old family friend or a godfather or an uncle or aunt, or someone who was wiser and more experienced than him. And I suggested that he writes to an imaginary letter to this person, or a real letter to this imaginary person, I should say, and talk about how his experiences had affected him, and talk about how it had made him unhappy, and really how it had felt. And I encouraged him to be as open and frank and honest about this as he possibly could be. And the exercise was a two-part exercise. Part two was then to pretend that he was that other wiser, more experienced, trusted person, and then write a letter from that person back to himself, giving him some advice about what he should do and how things might be in the future, and use that as an exercise really to try and tease out the important things that he should take from this, and how he would move on. And so he did this exercise, and funnily enough, his shoulder and his neck seemed to be much better afterwards. And it was great that we did the physical treatment, the chiropractic treatment, but I think it was also really useful to him to explore the emotional aspects of how his experiences had affected him, because I really do believe that how we feel has a massive effect on how our bodies function, and we were able to use that CBT technique, cognitive behavioural therapy technique, to help him address those issues and come up with some advice for himself, because we all have the answers within us.